Today, we're digging into the unreasonable blueprint for creating real customer magic. So, let's start with a big question. What if that magic you feel from the world's best companies, that feeling of being perfectly taken care of, that little moment of surprise, what if it isn't magic at all?
And what if it's actually a blueprint, something you can, copy? A set of principles that anyone in any business can learn from. That's what we're getting into today. To figure this out, we have to start with a puzzle. A kind of magic contradiction at the very heart of what makes for an amazing customer experience.
Okay, check this out. On one side, you have unreasonable hospitality. This is the philosophy of a single, kind of scrappy, fine dining spot in New York City. And on the other side, practical magic. This is the massive, systematic approach of a global entertainment empire. I mean, they couldn't seem more different, right? It's like an artist versus a machine. But are they really?
So let's start with that first one, 11 Madison Park. Picture this. It's 2010. Co-owner Will Guidara looks at the world's 50 best restaurants list, and his restaurant is ranked dead last. Can you imagine? He was, in his own words, mortified. And his journey to get to number one wasn't just going to be about better food. No, it was going to be this radical, almost obsessive focus on how they made people feel. It was all heart and seemed totally impossible to scale up. Now, let's flip to the complete opposite, Disney, a place that manufactures magic for literally millions of people. And their success is no accident, it's a system. Get this, a staggering 70% of first-time visitors come back. I mean, think about that. That's not luck, that is a well-oiled machine. So here's the mystery, right? How can a heartfelt, one-off approach and this massive, systematic one both create legendary experiences? Let's start investigating.
Okay, our first big clue in this mystery comes from Will Guidara's core philosophy, and it completely reframes how we should even think about customer service. So Guidara draws this really important line in the sand. He says, service, that's black and white. It's just technical. Did you bring me the right food? Was the order correct? That's just competence. But hospitality, hospitality is color. It's how you make people feel. It's the emotion, the connection. And this is where things start to get unreasonable.
Let me give you a perfect example. They call it the legend of the hot dog. Guidara overhears a table of tourists, and they're bummed because they're leaving New York without ever trying a classic street hot dog. So what does the owner of this fancy 4-star restaurant do? He literally runs out the door, buys a hot dog from a street cart, brings it back, has the kitchen slice it up perfectly, and serves it to them on a silver platter. See? That's not service, that's color.
Or how about this one, the legend of the custom chair? There was a regular at a restaurant, and he had a favorite chair. So behind the scenes, they secretly photographed it, they measured it, and they built an exact replica just for him, even upholstered it in the restaurant's fabric. I mean, come on. That's not about meeting an expectation, it's about honoring a person in a way that is just completely over the top.
And okay, this one might be my favorite. The legend of the 100 grand bars. A banker jokes to a server, "You know what I really need? $1 million. Well, the restaurant can't do that, but they can do the next best thing. When the meal is over, he finds a bag tucked under his chair, and it's filled with 10 100 grand candy bars. It's just so simple, so witty, and so human. It turns a simple dinner into a story he'll tell forever."
Okay, so Guidara's approach feels like pure art, right? Creating these personal, one-of-a-kind legends. But now, we have to look at our second clue. Let's switch gears and look at Disney's methodical, scientific machine for manufacturing that same kind of delight.
Yeah, Disney actually has a name for their process. They call it guestology. And it's not about guessing what people want. Nope. It's the science of knowing and understanding your guests, their needs, their wants, their emotions, and then engineering an entire world to exceed their expectations at every single touch point.
And this whole science is built on 4 pillars that are totally non-negotiable. First, safety, always. Then courtesy, making sure every interaction is positive. Third is show, which means the story, the theme, is never, ever broken. And finally, efficiency, making sure the whole experience just flows. And look, these aren't just nice little suggestions. They are rigid operational standards. To really nail that show element, Disney has this amazing principle. Everything speaks. Every single detail sends a message. There's this great quote from an Imagineer, John Hench. He said, "You can get information about a changing environment through the soles of your feet." He was talking about how Walt Disney himself insisted on changing the texture of the pavement when you walk from one land to another in the park. Why? So you feel the shift in the story without even realizing it. That's how deep it goes. And to protect this perfectly crafted illusion, Disney is obsessed with the difference between onstage and backstage. Onstage is anywhere a guest can see you. It's a performance, 100% of the time. Backstage, that's the hidden world, the logistics, the break rooms, the supply tunnels under the park. A character never takes off their head where a guest might see. A delivery truck never just drives down the middle of Main Street. The entire system is designed to preserve the magic by hiding all the machinery.
Okay, so let's recap. We've got two completely different models: Gadara's spontaneous, heartfelt art and Disney's meticulous, data-driven science. They feel like they're on opposite ends of the universe. But what if they're not? This, my friends, is where the whole mystery finally starts to unravel.
When you put them side by side, the parallels are just stunning. Look at this. Gadara says he hires the person, not the resume. Disney calls it casting people for the right role. Gadara has dreamweavers who create those spontaneous magic moments. Disney has Imagineers who design the experiences from the ground up. Gadara gives his team a toolkit to improvise. Disney builds a performance culture for flawless delivery. It's the exact same goal, they're just using different words.
And that's the big reveal. The secret here isn't art versus science. It's not a choice between the two. The real blueprint is a system of spontaneity. It's about building a super robust system for the sole purpose of empowering genuine, spontaneous human connection. Both Gadara and Disney build this incredibly strong foundation so that their people on the front lines feel safe enough and empowered enough to improvise, to add that color that makes everything unforgettable.
Okay, so what do we do with this? This insight isn't just for fancy restaurants or massive theme parks. Let's break it down into 3 rules you can use to build your own system of spontaneity, no matter what you do. Rule number 1, define your purpose. It needs to be crystal clear. It could be something scrolled on a napkin like Gadara, or a mission for a global empire like Disney's We Create Happiness. Clarity is key. Number 2, systematize spontaneity. This sounds like a contradiction, but it's not. It means building a toolkit, giving your team the freedom, and yeah, the budget, to create their own hot dog moments. And number 3, make it cool to care. You have to build a culture where people are actually celebrated for bringing their passion to work, so it stops being just a job and starts feeling like a collective mission.
And that brings us to one final, really big question for the future. You know, in an age where AI and automation are getting better and better at handling all the black and white technical stuff, could this deeply human, color-filled system of spontaneity become the most valuable business strategy of all? I'm curious what you think. Let me know in the comments.